Canals. Lena stepped off the tram near the Prinsengracht, adjusting her scarf against the crisp autumn breeze. The golden leaves reflected on the canal's surface, shimmering under the gentle afternoon sun. This was her first time in Amsterdam, a city she had only dreamed of visiting, and she was determined to make the most of it. Amsterdam's canals form an intricate network of waterways, often referred to as the Venice of the North. With over 100 kilometers of canals weaving through the city, they are lined with historic houses, arched bridges, and moored houseboats, each carrying its own story. The canals were originally designed in the 17th century during the Dutch Golden Age, serving as both a means of transportation and a vital part of the city's defense system. Today, they stand as a testament to Amsterdam's rich heritage and are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. As Lena strolled along the canal's edge, she admired the centuries-old gabled houses reflecting in the water. The scene was picturesque, with cyclists pedaling along the narrow paths, locals chatting over coffee at waterfront cafés, and tourists taking boat rides beneath the many bridges. The gentle lapping of the water against the stone embankments provided a calming rhythm to the city's vibrant life. She took a moment to observe the houseboats moored along the canal. Each was unique. Some were adorned with lush rooftop gardens, while others displayed vibrant murals that added to the city's eclectic charm. The houseboat lifestyle, once a necessity for those who couldn't afford land-based homes, had now become a symbol of Amsterdam's bohemian spirit. Residents decorated their floating homes with twinkling fairy lights, potted plants, and bicycles strapped to their decks, creating an atmosphere of warmth and individuality. Further along, she noticed a group of swans gliding gracefully on the water, their white feathers contrasting with the deep emerald hue of the canal. Ducks and coots paddled nearby, searching for food as boats passed by, their gentle wake creating ripples across the surface. The canals were more than just scenic. They were teeming with life, an ecosystem in the heart of the city. Lena paused on a small wooden bridge, watching as a boat passed beneath her. It was one of the classic salon boats, a remnant of Amsterdam's past, with polished wood interiors and large glass windows. Inside, passengers sipped wine, engaged in quiet conversation as they drifted through the city's waterways. She considered taking a boat tour herself. Seeing the city from the water provided a perspective unlike any other. As she continued walking, Lena came across a small, hidden quay where a street musician played the violin. The melody of his song intertwined with the soft rustling of the trees, creating an almost dreamlike ambience. The sound echoed through the narrow alleys that led away from the canal, drawing her attention to the deeper, quieter parts of Amsterdam, away from the bustling tourist spots. She remembered reading about the legends and mysteries surrounding the canals. Some whispered about hidden treasures buried beneath the murky waters, remnants of Amsterdam's maritime past. Others spoke of ghostly apparitions that appeared on foggy nights, spirits of sailors lost at sea or lovers who met tragic ends. The city's history felt alive in these waterways, each ripple on the surface holding an untold story. Lost in thought, she almost didn't notice the old man in the tweed coat standing across the canal, watching her. He was still there, his gaze unwavering. A shiver ran down her spine, and she quickened her pace, her footsteps echoing against the cobblestone path. Museums. Lena's next stop was the Rijksmuseum, an iconic institution that stood as a monument to Dutch art and history. She marveled at the grandeur of its neo-Gothic architecture as she stepped inside. The vast halls stretched before her, filled with masterpieces from the Dutch Golden Age. The air was thick with the scent of aged wood and varnish, a subtle reminder of the centuries of history that lined the museum's walls. She found herself drawn to Rembrandt's The Night Watch, one of the museum's most famous paintings. The way the light played upon the canvas, illuminating the faces of the militiamen, made it seem almost alive. She traced the detailed brushstrokes with her eyes, admiring the way Rembrandt had captured motion and depth with such skill. Around her, other visitors whispered in awe, their gazes locked onto the iconic masterpiece. Moving on, she explored Vermeer's The Milkmaid, captivated by its quiet simplicity. The careful rendering of light and texture made the scene feel intimate, as if she had stepped into the very kitchen where the milkmaid poured her jug. Lena had read about Vermeer's mastery of light, but seeing it firsthand was an entirely different experience. The museum also housed an extensive collection of maritime artifacts, relics from the age when the Netherlands was a dominant naval power. She marveled at ancient navigational instruments, model ships, and intricate maps that told stories of exploration, trade, and conquest. These artifacts were a window into the era when Amsterdam's wealth was built on its connection to the sea. Beyond paintings and artifacts, the Rijksmuseum showcased a collection of historical books and manuscripts, carefully preserved under glass. Lena spent time poring over the delicate pages, the elaborate calligraphy and intricate illustrations transporting her to another time. The written records spoke of the city's past with as much detail as the art itself. As she wandered through the museum, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The old man in the tweed coat appeared once more, standing by a sculpture near the entrance of another exhibit. His presence was unnerving, but curiosity pushed her forward. Was he following her, or was it all a strange coincidence? Taking a deep breath, she turned into a dimly lit corridor lined with golden-framed portraits. The deep-set eyes of long-forgotten figures seemed to follow her as she walked, adding to the growing sense of mystery surrounding her visit. A museum guard nodded at her as she passed, seemingly oblivious to the man trailing behind her. At the far end of the museum, she found herself in the library, a grand space filled with towering bookshelves and spiral staircases. The scent of old paper filled the air. She hesitated before running her fingers along the spines of centuries-old books. One in particular caught her eye, a leather-bound journal with a faded title. She pulled it from the shelf and carefully flipped through its pages. The handwriting was elegant yet hurried, detailing accounts of hidden passages and long-lost secrets buried beneath Amsterdam streets. A sudden creak behind her made her turn abruptly. The old man was gone. Had he been watching her just moments ago? She wasn't sure anymore. With her heart pounding, she carefully placed the journal back on the shelf. The museum held more secrets than she had anticipated. Perhaps the note she had received earlier, "Follow the houseboats. The secret is in the water," was not just a coincidence. Charming streets. Feeling uneasy, Lena decided to shake off her pursuer by ducking into a small café along a quiet canal. The aroma of fresh stroopwafels and rich Dutch coffee filled the air, offering a brief comfort. She took a seat by the window and watched as the city bustled around her, bicycles whizzing past and boats drifting lazily on the water. Just as she was beginning to relax, a note slid onto her table. Lena's heart pounded as she picked it up. "Follow the houseboats. The secret is in the water." Her mind raced with possibilities. Was this a coincidence? A prank? Or something far more intriguing? With a deep breath, she stepped out into the Amsterdam twilight, the city's lights reflecting on the canals like scattered stars. If there was a mystery hidden in these charming streets, she was ready to uncover it.